FBI profiler James Fitzgerald and the former chairman of the House Select and Committee on Intelligence, Mike Rogers. All right, so Mike, let me start with what Kyung was just reporting. CNN learning Tashfeen Malik, the wife, was radicalized before coming to the United States last summer. That's a crucial detail. How is it that she was able to enter the United States? You know, with this whole conversation about Donald Trump, people are saying, oh, we're already screening people. Well, if she was already radicalized and she got in the country, something didn't happen that should have happened.
Well, I don't know how you would determine if someone was willing to use deception to get into the country and not be forthcoming in the fact that she was radicalized or had extreme views, how you would catch that in the interview process of which they had. Remember, the databases are good for what they're good for, meaning that that's information that is relayed from a foreign country that says this person is associated with terrorism, and that's a database the FBI has access to. It is clear that neither one of those people rose to that level. And remember, Aaron, the Zarnoff brothers of the Boston bombing were investigated for almost a year by the FBI, and still they found that they had strong views, but it didn't rise to the level to say, hey, these folks are going to commit a terrorist act. It's almost an impossible standard. And so,
James, you know, this would mean, though, this timing that she was radicalized before coming into the United States, that would mean she could have been pregnant, you know, while she was radicalized and while she was planning a suicide massacre specifically. A pretty terrifying thought. Do you think having this baby was part of the plot? Why do you think that?
Well, first of all, it goes way back before 2 years. I'm convinced she could have been a baby when this process actually started. We have to discuss more about her family, learn more about her family in Pakistan, other places that she visited. But this also could have been a pact that she had with her handlers, who the people who were radicalizing her, not to mention with her husband when she finally met him and finally married him. And that is, you know what, I'll do this thing. I believe in this cause. I am a true believer. But you know what, I had this maternal instinct thing, and I want to have a baby first. And I'll make sure that she's taken care of somehow down the line. Some of this money you're borrowing and perhaps some letters or even some videos or digital recordings I have will be for my young daughter when she reaches 10 years of age, 15 years of age, then she can follow in my footsteps. This happened well before 2 years ago, and the baby may have just been part of this overall deal.
What do you say to that, Mike?
You know, I'm not sure that that was planned. It could an accidental birth or a not planned birth, I mean. I'm not sure I could get there. But what we do know is that if you believe in ISIS and you believe in the caliphate, they start early. They'll recruit people in these training camps or take these kids into training camps as young as 3 years old. They call them cubs of the caliphate. There's one particular camp that issued swords and dolls, and their whole purpose was to train these children how to chop the head off of this doll, and they would call them, these are the infidels, this is how you do it. They're indoctrinating these kids very, very early, and it's a really dangerous trend to see that these kids are being consumed and indoctrinated by ISIS. And I'll tell you once, and James could tell you that as an FBI profiler, once that person goes through that process, maybe even participates in an execution or certainly witnesses it, really difficult to get those kids back and out of that environment in a way that keeps them and their neighborhoods safe.
So, James, I talked to the attorney last night for the Farouk family, the husband's family. He was adamant that his mother, who lived in the home and was helping take care of that baby, had no idea about any of this. Do you believe her? Do you believe the family?
Well, that's what attorneys do that work for a client. Of course, we need more facts, more information. I find it very hard to believe she could live through this pre-offense staging period between gathering materials, pipe bombs, detonators, materials to actually make them explode, as well as doing dry firing, practicing shooting in the backyard without seeing something. I have a feeling she's not a stupid woman, and there's no way that she could see her son and daughter-in-law going through these machinations, these practice runs, and not know something was being planned and something relatively evil and deadly.
All right, thank you both very much. We do, of course, know that she was questioned for 7 hours and at this point has not been kept in custody.